I was near bankruptcy. Unknown to many people out there, if you're a lawyer, you are declared bankrupt. You will lose your license to practice. And if things couldn't be worse, and one day my ex-wife just packed up and left.
Hey guys, it's Shulin. We'll kick off the episode shortly. Before joining us, make sure you've listened to part 1 of this episode with Josephus. It would really help us if you could leave a 5-star rating and follow us on Spotify. If you're tuning in on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel and hit thumbs up button. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy part 2 of this episode. And I love that your mission is about representing the underbelly of the Singapore society where they don't have access to legal representation. Is that actually one of the reasons why you later on became in debt? Because you overdid it? Is that true?
Yes. I think that is one of the main reasons, because as what I mentioned earlier, right? Man on a mission, to use my legal knowledge, a superpower, to save people, to save the world, right? Until today, I still believe in that. But I think maybe because of my personality, it's a bit extreme. Like it's either, back in the days when I was younger, right? My parents always say in Hokkien, you either grow up tua ho or tua pai. Either very big good or very big bad, So it's very extreme.
Either mafia boss or CEO.
Yeah, correct. So it's very extreme, So it's just my personality, very extreme, good or bad. So I think when I started this whole pro bono journey, right? Since the day of my practice, so I've been a big believer. I do it a lot. I take on a lot of pro bono cases, but to the point that it doesn't make sense financially anymore. So a lot of people ask me, so what did you do while you're doing the pro bono cases? How did you survive? How do you earn your money, so called to speak? In fact, when I go to schools, right, to give motivational talks to students, right, some students even ask me that, Uncle Joe, as a lawyer, how much you earn? Or you do so many pro bono cases, you got earn money, meh? How you feed yourself? Then I always crack a joke. I say that, but you look at Uncle Joe so fat, right? So okay lah, I won't starve lah. But really, I think it wasn't financially prudent. So what I did was that I did it pro bono. So for the listeners out there, just in case you're wondering, pro bono is a Latin term. The full name is called pro bono publico. It means for the public good. So I was providing my legal expertise for free to the underprivileged class. So how do I survive? I draw on my credit card, you see, daily. So a lot of people thought, Josephus got credit card problem. But no, I wasn't drawing on credit to live a luxurious life or to gamble or, to buy branded goods. No, none of that, I was just drawing on credit just to pay for my rent, to pay for my food, But of course, as we all know, credit card, right? You draw on credit, interest roll on interest is exorbitant. So I think I've been doing that for years. So everything again came crashing down 7 years ago. My second crisis. This is remember the trilogy of my life, right? This will be the last part, which I think I've only gave a few media interviews on this, on specifically what happened. So now on your podcast, a lot more information. All right. So I was near bankruptcy. Unknown to many people out there, under the Legal Profession Act, if you are declared a bankrupt, if you're a lawyer, you are declared a bankrupt, you will lose your license to practice.
Whoa.
So it's serious. All right. And so I was on the brink of that. I own a bank close to about over $1,000, different banks. And then so I really don't know how to turn it around. And if things couldn't be worse, my first marriage, which lasted for almost 11 years. And one day, my ex-wife just packed up and left. Yeah. And in a way, I think I saw it coming as well. I think the marriage has broken down in the last few years. And so one day decided, okay, so we decided to call it quits, and she left. And then after that, I rented I wouldn't even say a one-room apartment, So it was this apartment that was being partitioned into like 4 or 5 different units, So I just rented a room. Yeah. And when you open the door, it's the bed, So it's really that small. So I rented a room. And then I was lost. I really don't know what to do in life. And there I was, um, I can feel myself sliding back into depression. You start to have negative thoughts. And it's amplified by the fact that, you see, I think maybe just to digress a little bit, if you have never experienced success in your life, then you will never truly understand the depths of failures. You understand what I mean? Because for me, right, I was at the peak of my career.
Yes.
I was prominent in the scene. Um, I was doing good cases. All right. I was featured in media interviews. I was very prominent. So a lot of people, they have this perception that, oh, because you're famous, because you're well known, so naturally you are rich lah. You're doing well in life. But I always tell them, I say, but what am I famous for? They say, you're famous for pro bono. I say, yeah, I'm famous for helping the poor, right? So logically, that means that I become poorer, right? Because more and more poor people come to me, right?
And they pay you, I remember in the interview, they pay you in biscuits,
Yeah.
sweets.
That explains why I'm still fat. As in, I was fat. As in, like,
You've lost some weight.
yeah. So why I was still maintaining my weight is because they paid me in kind lah. So I'm like the village elder like that lor. They come and seek help. I provide the help. Then they maybe give me chickens, give me fruits. So yes, many of my pro bono clients, they pick me in kind. They give me fruit basket. They give me chocolates. They give me biscuits. Very, very nice of them. But coming back, I think, of course, living in the real world, you need money lah. You need to be financially stable, which I wasn't. So yes, everything came to a halt at the start of 2017. So I shifted into like, a small little space because I couldn't afford it anymore. The rent of a bigger place. Uh, uh, my first marriage ended up in a divorce, and then I was near bankruptcy. And I thought if things couldn't get worse, I was lying in that room one day, right? One day I just woke up and I realized that I couldn't move. My entire left side of the body was frozen.
That's scary.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you know what? I think I'm tough, but I think I'm not that tough. I think something is really seriously wrong. When you have these kind of feelings. Then I thought, okay, better drag myself to the hospital, which I did. And when I reached the hospital, I was told by the doctor, the cardiologist, that, I was on the brink of getting my first massive stroke. So it was a major scare. And then my blood pressure shot up crazily high. And then they straight away checked me into A&E, put me through CT scan. So I was lying in hospital, half dead. Yeah. And I still remember when I was there, tears were just flowing down my face endlessly. And that was where I cried out to God. And I say that, so is this it? So, I made a promise to you. I'm a man on a mission, and I've been doing it for so many years. So is this it? I'm supposed to like go down in flames. And I scolded God. I was so angry. I was like, come on. I said, really? It's like literally I lost everything, overnight, including almost my life, right? My health. But you see, miracles do happen, isn't it? So at that moment when I was crying and I was near bankruptcy, and I know that, well, my admission to hospital is going to cost, how am I going to pay if I check out? I'm going to be bankrupt. Then my phone rang. Or rather, my phone, a message came in. Ding! Okay, that's an SMS. And I checked my SMS. It was from this insurance agent. This new girl. She said, oh, hi, my name is so-and-so. By the way, I've taken over your insurance portfolio from your previous insurance agent. So I'm going overseas right now. Let's catch up for coffee when I come back. I was like, okay. The timing, right? On one hand, I was just scolding God. I was like, okay, this is the end. I'm just going to give up. Okay, thank you very much. Stop this whole pro bono nonsense, right? Then a message came in. I was like, okay. Then I asked the agent, I said, by the way, I'm in hospital right now. And if I'm going to check out tomorrow, right? I'm just wondering, do I have any policy? I'm just wondering. And then the message came in. She said, oh, by the way, I'm at the airport right now. I said, sorry to hear about your situation, but this is your policy number. Many years ago, you bought this policy.
Wow.
And this policy is a premium policy. It covers everything.
Wow.
So tomorrow, go to the counter, give this policy number to the counter. You're covered.
Wow.
You don't have to pay a single cent.
If not for the message, you
What are the
wouldn't have known.
Yeah, what are the chances?
Yes, no coincidences.
Yeah, exactly right. I was
Yes.
like, There at that moment, I was like, the tear stopped. I was like, what, that means there's something divine out there that's listening on,
Still looking out for you.
Yeah, I was like, okay. So it makes sense. Like they always say that God will never give you a burden that's so heavy that you can't carry it.
Yes.
Right. So there I was like, okay, I don't know, but still don't know whether to believe it or not. The very next morning I checked out, I went to the counter, I give the policy number, and true enough, it checked out, I don't have to pay a single cent.
Amazing.
But guess what? What broke my heart was that my cardiologist told me that after this incident, right, you have to go on medication for the rest of your life. And I was only 37, 38 years old. I cried, in front of my cardiologist. I said, are you kidding me? I said, I'm in my late 30s, He said, yeah, but I think maybe the incident caused a little bit of damage to some of your organs. And also, I think you need to take this hypertension medication for the rest of your life. I was like, oh, God. I didn't see this coming. Well, at least not at this age, I'm in my prime. I thought people start taking this kind of like high blood pressure, diabetes, or high cholesterol medication when you're in your 60s or 70s, right? I was 37, 38. But then again, in all fairness, I was heavily smoking, heavily drinking. I wasn't taking care of myself. So, rightly so. I should have seen this coming.
So that was a wake-up call?
That was a wake-up call. And then I was very defeated. And then after that, one of my friends just checked in on me and asked me, hey, what have you been up to? You have been quiet for a while. I said, no, nothing. He said, hey, you want to join me for coffee, So he wanted to ask for some legal advice, for a friend and all that. So I just came up. And then one thing led to another. And this friend of mine, he operates a pest control company. Right? But it's a bit unique. He doesn't do it on the ground. He provides pest control on vessels.
I think you were featured on the front page of a Chinese newspaper.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yes. Looking like a ghostbuster.
Yeah,
but
exactly
it's a pest buster.
Yeah. So one thing led to another. He asked me, say, hey, I know you're a lawyer, but if you're in this kind of situation, right, if you don't mind, I can give you a part-time job, to be a pest busters, on the vessels, to spray pesticides,
Yes.
to get rid of cockroaches and rats.
Oh my gosh.
And at that moment, it brought me back to my formative years. Remember
Yes.
my trilogy part 2, right?
Yes.
Whereby my father gave me the slap and all that.
Yes.
It went back there and then,
It's
I was
like a full circle.
It's a full circle. It's like, okay, this is back to square one. So yeah, I think let's restart back to basics. I said, sure. And then I went with him. And these are all graveyard shifts. Because for the listeners out there, if you don't understand how it works, is that many of these vessels and tankers, they come from all over the world, and they'll go past the Singapore harbour, the Singapore dock. They'll refuel for within 24 hours, and then they will go to their next destination. So it's round the clock. They don't stop on Sundays or public holidays. They just keep coming. So it's round the clock. So I was given a graveyard shift lah. I think many of the workers they prefer to do daytime. So I said, never mind. I think for all the shifts that you have, if people don't want to do, you just give it to me. And every trip that I do earns me about $150, $200. So it's quite decent money. So every trip takes me about 2 to 3 hours. But I didn't know that it was that dangerous.
How dangerous?
So basically, we will set off in the middle of the night at Marina South Pier.
Yes.
Okay, so we clear the customs, the immigration.
Yes.
Right? Then we will take a bunk boat, like those that you take to Pulau Ubin, right? So wooden bunk boat, tuk, 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 tuk. It will bring you about 30 minutes or 45 minutes out to like Changi coastal area.
Right.
And that is where all the major vessels are docked. Okay, most of them. And once you reach that major vessel, right? You see, a lot of people from East Coast Beach or the beach, when you look at the vessel, they seem so small,
Yes,
so
yes.
cute, right? But when you approach them, right, they are like 4 or 5 story high, It's huge.
It's like a building.
How do you assess it?
You have to climb.
You have to climb.
Wow.
The only way is to climb. So they'll put down the rope ladder. They will near the small little ship will dock beside the vessel. Then you start climbing.
In
And
the dark.
And trust me, when you are carrying like equipments
Yes.
like 5 to 10 kg and you climb the rope and the wind blows, right? you're like swaying from side to side. You know?
Wow.
And so we have heard of incidents whereby people died. They fell and they died. Or they dropped into the sea, you know. So it was quite scary. So, but never mind, you just had to grind through it, right? So you climb out, then after that you spray the pesticides throughout the vessel and all that.
How long did you do that for?
6 months.
And then you started your law firm, Invictus, today.
Yeah, before we go there, right? So 6 months when I was doing this, right, round the clock. So earning money to pay rent,
Yes.
to eat, right? I think what was very memorable about these 6 months was that I was living out from a van. So I was driving the pest control van, and a lot of my belongings were in the van. Unknown to many people. So inside the van, right, apart you put your so-called the pest control equipment. A lot of it were boxes, you know, containing my stuff. Because I rented a small room, right?
Yes.
But not insufficient space to put a lot of things. So I put it a lot in the van. These were all my trophies, my magazine media covers, my newspaper coverage on the cases I did, you know, or even my court robe, you know. They were all inside the van. You know the court robe, right?
Yeah,
Where
of
we wear in
course.
high court. So when we get called to the bar, right, when you put on the robe and you take that oath, it's very symbolical. But that robe was just in the van. And I still remember sometimes because back-to-back night shift. So instead of driving back all the way to the apartment, right, to the room, right, I thought I would just maybe rest for a few hours at the pier. So there were nights whereby I slept at Marina South Pier and in my pest control uniform. And it gets cold, you know. So I still remember one of the nights I took the court robe out and I rolled into a bundle and used it as a pillow. There were other nights I used it as a blanket cover.
Wow.
A court robe, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a change and turn of events.
Yeah. And there I was like a prominent lawyer in Singapore.
I know.
No, but I thought interestingly, it was so a lot of people have been asking me after the whole thing came into the
Yes.
news, right? They're saying, Josephus, do you really have to be so pathetic? As in, like, do you really have to do this? Like, you can do other jobs, what? Like, maybe you can be a Grab driver. I'm like, again, unknown to many people out there. I think under the Legal Profession Act, right? I think it's very strict that the lawyers shouldn't be like moonlighting you know,
Right.
especially in certain professions.
Right.
All right. So I think by then I was quite a prominent face in Singapore. Many Singaporeans they can identify me.
Yes.
They know who I am. So I think it's very hard for me to take on jobs in public. Like nothing wrong.
Yes.
And I'm more than happy to do it. You know, I used to wash toilet, you know.
Yes.
So I'm more than happy to like do the odd jobs. But I think because of this restriction, that's why I thought better not. It will create controversy.
Yeah.
You'll be captured in the media and I think things will look ugly for many people. So I think for this whole pest control at the sea job, right? I think it's great because usually on the tankers, these are all international crew. You encounter people from Philippines, India, Russia, Ukraine, from all over. So of course they wouldn't know who you are. It's great. I can be myself, right?
Yes.
All right. And but coming back, I think the nights that I spent at Marina South Pier, apart from using my court robe as a pillow or as a blanket cover, there was also another incident. I was so broke, you know. I still remember I have about $4.20 on my body before I get paid for the job. So I was hungry. I wanted to eat cai fan, you know, economic rice, right, during lunch before I bought the boat. And I still remember I ordered a cai fan. I ordered, I said, Auntie, can I have one chicken wing, then one steamed egg, and vegetable?
Very balanced meal.
Yeah, very balanced, very healthy. And then the auntie said, okay, something like 5块半, 5.50.
70 cents more than you can afford.
Then I was like, okay, I got $4.20. Then I still remember at that moment, right? I told the auntie, I said, auntie, then 不用紧, never mind, you remove the chicken wing. You give me another portion of the vegetable. At that moment, right, it's like bittersweet, right? I was like, okay, it has gotten to this stage, you know.
Yeah.
That bad, you know. And I always feel very upset when I'm hungry, you know. when I
Hangry.
starve.
Yes.
Yeah. And then after that, auntie said, okay, then remove the chicken wing. At that moment, when I saw that she removed the chicken wing, then she put another portion of vegetable, like, then you just swallow. It's like, okay, whatever pride that you have as a human being, just gone. I'm like, okay. I took the rice. Then I went down to the site, just outside of the station. I think Marina South station, right? MRT station. Then I ate my cai peng. And if things couldn't be worse, I got spot check. So I think the police officers came out. Sir, work permit? Then I was like, okay. So then I was not clean shaven. I was wearing the cap. I was wearing the pest control uniform, a jumpsuit and all that. Sir, work permit? I was like, okay. So I took out my pink IC, Then the police officer, I still remember, was shocked. I was like, oh, wow, okay. Oh, sir, what are you doing here? I said, I got a assignment.
He thought it was a Halloween costume.
No, I think it's just random spot check,
Yes.
So I think he didn't think that I was a Singaporean.
He couldn't connect the dots.
Yeah,
It was
so-
too far-fetched for him to think.
Yeah, then he looked at my pink IC, was like, okay, yeah, okay. Sir, just random check. Okay. Then, I just continue eating my rice. But, that moment was like etched in my memory for life,
Yeah.
It's like,
For sure.
really, like, nobody would have believed it during that time. I was at the peak of my career.
Yeah.
I was really so prominent in the scene,
Yes.
Nobody could ever believe that, one of Singapore's most recognizable, most prominent lawyers is here at the pier eating cai peng with no chicken wing, getting spot check randomly.
Absolutely. It's really unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like a twist in fortunes.
Yeah. But it's okay, because at that moment I thought that 能屈能伸, Chinese, they say that you need to roll with the dice, right?
Yep.
You need to take as good as you give. So I thought, okay, I mean, this is nothing new. I went through it before. I'm going to go through it again. So you're at the height of your career. When you drop from the stars, and it's true, you will see for yourself who are your friends.
Mm.
And I can tell you something, not many. So I think a lot of people, they want to crowd around you when you're famous, when you're rich, when you're powerful. But when you drop into the gutter, right, everybody just scatter.
Only the true friends stay.
A handful. I think, yes, I'm very thankful that a few of them, they stayed. And these are the people who are still with me now.
Lifelong friends.
Yeah, in the setup, in the law firm. So one of them came on and became my wife.
Oh,
So I got remarried 3 years ago.
congratulations. Yes.
Thank you. So this woman, a divorcee, and she through a mutual friend, we got to know each other. And during this very difficult period, she was with me. So she believed
Yes.
in me. She gave me the care and concern.
Amazing.
Even though I was down and out,
Mm-hmm.
not like your usual like fair weather friends,
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. We'll be right back. But in the meantime, please take a moment to show us your support by giving us a 5-star rating on Spotify or a thumbs up on YouTube. Thank you so much. And now let's get back to the episode. For people listening in on this, if someone's going through a really hard time too, because it sounds like you've gone from hardship, you found yourself, pick yourself back up, you went down into the depths again,
Uh-huh.
and then you pick yourself up again. What would you say to someone who is going through a really rough spot?
Well, I know this sounds cliche, but just keep moving, just keep breathing. As long as you don't stop, you never give up, you will see better days. Really, it's as simple as that.
And maybe listen to motivational videos too.
I mean, whatever your outlet, you just make sure that you don't give up on yourself. Because I
Yes.
think that the moment you give up, that's where everything crumbles. Because, I think there's this quote made famous by Nelson Mandela, very inspirational, one of my heroes in my life. It's like, he said, I never lose. I only win or I learn.
Yes, that's my favorite quote too.
Yeah.
I love
so
it.
it's true, to me, it's very self-motivating.
Yes.
Tell yourself, it's like if anything or anybody that come into your life or happen to you in your life, right, you must either look at it as a lesson or as a blessing.
Yes.
And all experience is good experience as long as you learn something positive from it. So even a bad experience, you encounter a bad person, you encounter a bad incident, But if you learn something from it, then it is all good. So you must be able to think like that. And that is how you survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, there's no magic to this,
Yes.
I mean, of course, I talk about miracles. I talk about how from time to time there are like opportunities, there are people who will come into your life to give you a helping hand. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think nothing is going to work if you don't help yourself,
Yes.
at least mentally and
Yes.
emotionally. So it must still start from you,
Yup.
must start from within.
Mm.
I think that is something, if you ask me, this would be my advice to the listeners out there.
Mm.
I think a lot of us are struggling in our own ways, whether is it parenting, in the workspace, or maybe in your own personal life, whatever it is, all right? It's the same formula. Just keep moving.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
You will see better days ahead.
Yes. And speaking of better days, congratulations on buying your penthouse apartment.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it does sound pretty magical, from Pest Buster, $4.20 in your pocket, to putting down the down payment on a really nice, luxurious apartment. And I mean, I think the obvious question is, how did you do it? But I want to ask, has it got to do with like being more financially prudent? Because it's not like you were living it up. It's just that I guess you were not looking at the wider picture of running a business. Is it right to say that?
Yes. So I think really, if you ask me, right, what is the success to, or what is the secret formula to the success? You know how back in the days Singaporeans always say that they are the 5 C's: condo, credit card, cash, country club, cars, right? I can tell something. No, I have my own. Okay. Then I told people I only got 3 C's: conviction, courage, compassion.
Wow.
Okay. So those are my 3 C's. But now, if you ask me where I am right now, I have my 4 F's. You just need a few friends, trustworthy friends, okay, solid friends. Second, be financially prudent and financially savvy. And then focus on your family, okay? And then finally, focus on your fitness. The 4 F. That's all you need.
Mm.
So coming back, if you ask me, when I restarted my life in 2017, it was really like that. It's to start from scratch, back to basics. So we rented a small little space, 200 square feet. Started only with me, my disciple, another lawyer.
Disciple.
Yeah,
I love it.
and my current wife.
Yes.
So it's just 3 of us, and we just started like that. We don't know whether we are going to like wind up, after a few months. But it was just courage. It was just conviction. We believe that there'll be better days ahead. And of course, with the love and the support from the public, with with a lot of our clients.
A right balance between
Yes,
paid work and pro bono work.
correct. So last time I was doing like a good 80% pro bono work, 20% paid
That's
work.
crazy.
That's crazy. But now we switch the balance. We make it more balanced. Like maybe I would think 50% paid work, 50% pro bono.
Okay,
or maybe,
that's more sustainable.
more sustainable. Yeah. So right now I think I'm still on this pro bono mission. The ethos is still the same.
Mm-hmm.
To help the underprivileged people.
Yes.
But try to strike a sustainable balance.
Yes.
So that, because I think it dawned upon me that, you know what? I mean, I can help a lot of people. But what if I can only help people for 10 years?
Yeah.
As compared to if I can help people for the next 30, 50 years.
Exactly.
It makes more sense, you see.
You also have to take care of yourself and your family.
So I think when you realize that, right, it's about sustaining it.
Yes.
Then you will start to look inwards. What do I mean? You will start to realize that you want to appreciate your own health. You want to love yourself more. You want to love your family more. You want to love your time more. So that by so-called loving everything about yourself, looking inwards, right? Then you can sustain what is outward one.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can help more people. If you
Yes.
cannot even help yourself, how are you going to help others?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I realized that, I mean, they say better late than never.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the last 7 years, that has been what we are doing. That has been the modus operandi. So one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ask me, how do I go from a one room, right, to getting a dream house, a penthouse now? I think it's really this save, be financially prudent and financially savvy. I never read up about how to manage money. to me, it's always
I
about
think
passion.
lawyers are the worst at managing their money.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I suck at this, But when I hit rock bottom, I realized that, you know what? As the saying goes, if you don't like money, then money don't like you also. You must, not saying that you must be greedy, but you must understand how money works.
And you have to change your relationship and mindset with
Correct.
money, right?
So money shouldn't be your master. Money should be your servant. Then you need to know how to give tasks to your money and let your money work for you and not you work for your money. So I started to read, watch YouTube, listen to some trainers, financial trainers, read some financial books, and then you start to save to invest. So I save, I think even till today, right? I save 90% of what I earn every month.
Wow.
Yeah, 90% solid.
And you invest that?
And I invest them either in equity, in stocks market, in stocks, or invest them in bonds or whatever.
So you get someone to help you do that?
No,
or?
I do that myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're very savvy.
I won't say I'm very savvy, but okay lah, I'm decent lah, as compared to the past.
Right.
So I think really throughout that the last 7 years, right? That's how I managed to so-called
make a comeback. So Josephus, I'm a firm believer in second chances, and I'm going to ask you about something slightly more controversial. It's about the number of students who were caught cheating on their bar exams. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, I'm a criminal defense lawyer, so I defend bad people for a living. If you ask me, I'm a big believer of second chances. I mean, I'm not trying to belittle the whole process, or I'm not trying to say that what they did was very minor. I mean, but still, at the end of the day, you have to give them the second chance. And I think they have already received the due punishment. Because I would think that the punishment is actually not very light, It's not just about the fact that they cannot be called to the bar, but they have been openly shamed, openly exposed to members of the public. So I think this thing is going to go down for a long time.
Yes.
It's not easy to crawl out from this incident, if you ask me. So if they ever do, and I think whatever prospective employers out there should really open up their hearts to give them a chance. They're still young,
Yes.
And I still remember actually during our recruitment phase, I think 1 year ago when the scandal broke, right? So apparently we heard of a contact who is in contact with one of the so-called examination cheaters, and we heard that he was terminated from the firm that he was training at. And so we actually tried to reach out to him. We said that, maybe if you want a job, you can apply to us. But it didn't materialize. But I don't know for whatever reasons why it didn't. But if any of these so-called 11 are listening to this podcast, right? I just want to tell you that, you know what? It is not the end of the world.
Yes.
All right? You just have to embrace it, internalize it, accept it, It's something you can't change. And even if ever in future, your future employers want to talk about it, or even members of the public want to talk about it. You got to face up to it. If you cannot accept it wholeheartedly, don't expect the world to accept it. That's really the rule of the game.
So you're talking about taking ownership for what you've done rather than avoid the topic, right?
Yes. And also, I think just to add on a little bit, apart from the 11 of them, also in our previous recruitment attempts, right, we have other lawyers who ran afoul of the law, who went to prison for committing criminal offenses in the past. And thereafter, they're out looking for a job. And we interviewed them, we asked them, we told them the same thing. We said, look, what's in the past is in the past, but right now you got to look forward. So, but unfortunately, I think the few that we interviewed, they don't seem ready to embrace or to reconcile with their past. In fact, they try to run away from it. They try to skirt around the issue. But my advice to them is this: don't skirt away. You have to talk about it
and face it head on.
Yes. Of course, I'm not asking you to glorify it, but you have to accept the narrative. You do not have to justify it, but you have to accept that it was your failing.
Yes.
All right. And of course, people they have the right to know. So once you are able to clear that so-called stage 1 hurdle, right, then I think the future is bright.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And Josephus, I want to talk about your remarkable journey to quitting smoking after smoking for 30 years. Was it 30 years?
More than 30 years now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah, amazing, right? It's like, I mean, I started smoking at the age of 12. I'm a heavy smoker. I smoke all the heavy brands of cigarettes. I love smoking. I really enjoyed smoking. So But so I tried quitting before, but it didn't work out very well. It didn't last for some weeks, you know. But yes, at the start of this year, I told myself I'm going to quit smoking, and I did it, you know. And so far, it has been what, um, more than half a year,
Wow.
and I'm feeling good about it. And how? Actually, it all came about because of a health scare again last year. So I remember that I wanted to buy insurance policy, so I need to go for the usual checkup, right? And then after I did the checkup, realized that I was pre-diabetic. So again, you know, just like my whole hypertension episode, right? Now it's diabetes. So apparently, my insurance agent told me that the company is not going to cover you for critical illness for a particular sum of money. It's because you are high risk, you are pre-diabetic. So again, the whole thing just hit me like a brick wall, you know. It's like, what again? Come on, you know, I'm not very old, you know. Then
How
I
old
was
are you
like,
now?
I'm turning 45 this year.
Oh.
So last year I was just like, what, 43, 44? I was like, what? Diabetes? Then my agent told me, said, yeah, so unfortunate lah. Then you got to pay a premium for your insurance coverage. Then at that point in time, you see, things get better, right? So last time when I encountered hypertension, you know, I was down and out. Then after that, it took me a while. But after you went through that episode, you realize that, okay, it's the same thing, but it's faster now. You know how to do it better. I told myself, I said, look, Joe, you are going to either rise up or you are just going to fall down. Simple as that, right? So back to square one, back to the drawing block. Let's do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give it a shot. And then I just started by walking around Hong Lim Park, you know. Well, yeah, I know it's a funny place, right? But it's just beside my office. I thought since at night I'm going to work, right? Before I work, I'll just go to Hong Lim Park and just walk in my slippers, you know. And by the way, when I walk, I was still smoking. I was like, yeah, take an occasional like smoke break, you know. And then after walking 2 rounds, then the next day 3 rounds, and the day after 4 rounds, and I said, hey, maybe this is sustainable. And then one thing led to another. Then I started running. I said, let's run for 1 kilometer. Then I was breathless. I was like, never mind. Next week, let's try 2 kilometers. You know, so it started from walking to jogging and to running, right? And so then it's gotten to the point where I told myself, I said, you know what? Maybe I can seriously run better and breathe better without smoking. Let's give it a shot. And so at the start of this year, I said, let's quit it. And
What a
then,
breakthrough.
yeah, but I think a lot of people, they relapse is because the fact is that they always say that they quit already, they have nothing to depend on. It's a habitual thing. You need to quit the
yes.
habit, not just the chemical reaction. So the thing is that they turn to eating, right? That's why they put on weight and all that. So I was very mindful of that. I was like, I'm not going to quit smoking and they end up putting on weight. They end up being diabetic. That's worse. So I said, okay, so I'm going to quit smoking, but I'm going to find an alternate source, you know, of the dependency. And that will be running
Ooh.
or exercising lah. So I was like, okay, so no like binge eating, just exercise. So then my wife, again, I have to give due credit to her. Last year, my birthday, right? I told her about this. And she said, okay, for your birthday present, I'm going to give you a pair of running shoes.
Wow.
Real running shoes.
Wow.
I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yes.
And I'm so glad lah. So I took it seriously. Then I've been running. I quit smoking and I turned to running, exercising. And guess what? Recently, I just signed up for my Stand Chart Marathon.
Wow.
So end of this year, I'm going to, not a marathon lah, but the
Half
Stand Chart
marathon.
Marathon, I'm going to run a 10 kilometer.
Okay.
So
That's
it's
still
a
very
start.
respectable, yes.
Yeah. So then now every day I'm running every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And every 2 months I'll increase by 1 kilometer. So I just recently completed my 8 kilometer run
Wow, congrats.
under 50 minutes.
Congrats.
And I'm finally like wearing out my first pair of running shoes, you know. I'm intending to buy my second pair of running shoes. So then when you are so engrossed in this, you realize that actually you don't really need to smoke, you know.
Do you still drink?
Also, I stopped drinking.
Wow, all together.
Yeah, because I realized that, you know what, it's unlike when you are in your 20s, when you drink and tomorrow you can wake up, you can go to work, you can drink again. But now, you know, at our age, right, in our 40s, it's like you drink one day, you need to rest for 1 week. You know?
Totally.
Yeah,
Yes, I get it.
And you realize that you're old, you know.
Yes.
And the only way to delay aging is through exercise.
Yes.
So coming back, right, 135 I run, 246 I go to the gym.
Wow.
I rest on Sunday. And then I also watch the nutrition.
Pretty extreme.
Yeah, I told you, right, addictive personality, right? I go the other extreme.
But
so,
this is a healthy addiction.
yeah, I think this is the last frontier, you know. So my career is stable, my family is stable. Now the final frontier is my health. So I thought, so from last year till now, I lost about 12 kg.
Wow. That's a lot.
So yeah, nutrition, like now
So
I'm...
you have to buy a new wardrobe.
Yeah, in a way.
In a way,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
No, so for the listeners out there,
Yes.
really, please, if you ask me, true wealth, right, is health. Don't think about this only when you are older, but think about it when you are young. Because trust me, when you have everything in the world and you are not in the best of health, it's pointless. It's really pointless. So in order to enjoy what you have, right, you need to be healthy. So nobody is asking you to be like a manhunt, or to have like 6 packs, You don't have to look good for it, but just be healthy.
Yes.
So just exercise regularly and kill off all these bad habits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. So let's move on to some actionable tips for the listeners out there. I'm sure some of them are curious. So in the event, and hopefully none of you ever get arrested, but in the event that one gets arrested, what do you do?
Okay, I think first and foremost, in terms of legal awareness, right, I think what many Singaporeans or listeners should know is that in Singapore, unlike the Western countries, right, in the first 48 hours of your detention, right, there is no access to anybody. No access to lawyers, no access to your family members and whatnot. Like what you see on television shows, right, or Hollywood movies, they'll say, I refuse to talk until my lawyer is here. This doesn't work in Singapore.
There's no right to remain silent.
Yes. So the first 48 hours, this part will be the same as other countries. They can detain you for up to 48 hours, but you have no access to anyone. So, of course, naturally, we have encountered cases, even till today, a lot of family members, they'll ask, hey, my husband got detained 1 day ago and we didn't hear from him. So what's next, right? So we always advise them, we say, okay, because under the law, they can be detained up to 48 hours. And then, of course, during this time, there's no access. Maybe they explain it. But usually within the first 48 hours, you will hear from them. Because our understanding is that the authorities sometimes will usually let them make a phone call, whether they're a young person or they're adult, at least to inform their next of kin where they are. Not so much to call their lawyers, but it's to call their next of kin to inform them, hey, currently I'm at the station, blah, 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 and all that. So yes, to sum up, if you are ever arrested or detained by the authorities on suspicion of a crime, my advice to you is to cooperate with the authorities, because during the interrogation process or the questioning process, they'll ask you questions, pertaining to what they are investigating, and just assist to the best of your ability. Answer truthfully. All right. If it is a yes, it is a yes. If it is a no, it is a no. If you don't know, means you don't know. All right. And on the other spectrum, for the family members, right, don't be overly worried. It's just that because the law dictates that they have no access. All right. So you just have to wait out that period of time. That's really it.
There was once I saw a guy being chased by law enforcement officers. This was Bugis Junction. They were running out of Kinokuniya. I was just coming out of the food court, I think. Then they were like, catch him. And then I was like, okay. And then I caught him by the sleeve because I didn't know what he did, right? So turns out he was taking upskirt photos at the Kinokuniya bookstore. And he took his phone. He let me catch him by the sleeve because I really didn't want to touch him. And then he took the phone, he smashed it on the floor, and then he kept like stepping on the phone. He was like destroying the evidence. And then suddenly there were gang members surrounding. I don't know why there were suddenly gang members surrounding. So anyway, I let go of the sleeve. I was just like, okay, my job is done here. But, in a situation like this, let's say I'm a passerby, right? I don't want to be any accomplice to any crime. I've not done anything wrong, right?
Nothing, no.
I was being a helpful citizen.
Yeah. Okay. First and foremost, for whoever is the perpetrator or potential perpetrators out there who are listening to this, right? Remember, don't get rid of evidence. Like, for example, what you mentioned, right? The person tried to smash his phone and all that. Fun fact, you can smash the phone. You can even throw it into water. But you know what? We have a very high-tech computer forensics department, So apparently, they are able to retrieve all the information. Even if you are going to drown your phone in water, you are going to smash it up, falling short or grinding into powder to drink it, Yeah, so there are ways to actually retrieve the evidence. So that is one. Second thing, by doing that, right, you are destroying or attempting to destroy evidence. That is a chargeable offense under Section 204, capital A of the Penal Code. This is for perversion, obstruction, or prevention of the cause of justice, right? So, so it's a chargeable offense on its own.
Yes.
So my advice is, please don't do that.
Yeah.
And then to answer your final question, as to like members of the public, if you are ever caught in this situation, what should you do? I think really there's no law or there's no one saying that you should play hero. Okay, because I think self-preservation is important, it's critical. And especially if let's say the whoever is the offender, right, is holding a weapon. Yeah, please do not attempt to unarm a person who is holding a weapon, even if you are a trained martial artist or whatever. So I think the best thing you can do is to alert the authorities, and yeah, don't take things into your own hands. Because if anything, right, if you contact the authorities, right, you can be called as a witness, to the whole situation. You are already assisting a lot by giving evidence of what you saw, what you heard,
Yes.
what you witnessed. So I think that itself is very good already.
Yes.
Yeah, but don't play hero.
Yes, yes.
That's my advice. Yeah.
Okay. And fun fact, many years ago, I'm thinking it must have been 15 years ago, I was a DPP, very young DPP. You were also a younger lawyer, and we were in a case, on a case together, opposing counsel. And my question is, what are you defending for when your client has already admitted to you that he's guilty? What are you fighting for?
Okay, so very commonly asked question of criminal defense lawyers around the world. So essentially, I think there are two parts of it. As a true professional, of course, we will deal with the instructions from clients. We will deal with the facts of the matter, and we will present the case accordingly. All right, then of course, the judge will decide. So that is really our job. Our job is to assist you legally, stand with you legally, but it doesn't mean that we have to stand with you morally. I think that's a fine distinction. So just because I represent an alleged molester, does it mean that I condone molestation myself? The answer is no. Okay. So in cases whereby it's straightforward in a way that, the accused has already confessed to the crimes, and really he requires legal representation to plead for leniency, to mitigate. Because we know that when it comes to sentencing, there's a range, and whatever sentence you get, it really depends on uh, the circumstances, the facts of the case. So every case is different. It might be similar, but every case, every offender will always be different. All right. So you just present the mitigating factors to the court and to what you have been given.
Yes.
And then let the court decide.
Everyone deserves a fair trial.
Correct. And of course, it must be mitigated based on legal principles.
Yes.
Based on facts. It cannot be something you pluck from thin air.
Yep.
Like you say, everybody deserves a second chance. As such, he should get the lightest sentence. No, we always say that it is not about asking for the lightest sentence, but the most appropriate sentence, the fairest and the most appropriate sentence. I think that is the key. Then the other spectrum of our work is, if the accused comes up with a viable defense and say, hey, I'm actually innocent, they caught the wrong person, or actually I have evidence to show that I wasn't at the scene, I'm not part of the crime, then this is where, of course, the accused will elect to go for trial. Then like what you see on television shows, then the courtroom drama, we have to test out the evidence. So we have to ask questions, and the prosecution on the other side will have to cross-examine, vice versa. And then ultimately, at the end of the trial, the court, or rather the judge, will make a finding as to whether there should be a conviction or there should be an acquittal. So really, these are the two main parts of it. If you ask me, it's really unlike what most people think. Criminal defense lawyers, they are the devil's advocate. You take the money and you cover the conscience. It's not like that. Because if there's a client that comes up to me and say, Josephus, I actually molested a girl, but I denied to the police. Now I want you to fight for my acquittal. Professionally, legally, ethically, we are not supposed to do that, because we already know he already admitted. Even though he didn't admit to the authorities, as a professional, we should decline. We should advise this person, say, you should plead guilty and then mitigate. That's really it, right? So it is really unlike what the public think it is, that, you know what, actually lawyers, they are liars, They know the truth, but they cover it with money, and they tell a different side of the story. It's not like that. It's not like that at all.
Yeah,
because we're actually governed by the Law Society of Singapore, and there's a disciplinary process. If any of this comes to light, you can be taken to task. You can even have your license revoked or suspended.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, Josephus, you've taken us through your life journey, your origin story, part 1, part 2, part 3. Someone should make a Netflix show about you.
Ah.
Seriously?
Maybe lah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And I have one final question. What would you say to your younger self?
How young?
16.
Very good question, I thought. Well, if I'm going to see my 16-year-old self, my advice to him would be treasure your life. Live in the moment. You know, do your best for everything. For your friends, for your family, more importantly for yourself. Just do your very best. And if it doesn't work out, tell yourself that you can try again. You know, and just keep walking ahead. That is all.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Josephus. So before we wrap up the podcast, we like to ask some personal questions to get to know you better.
Okay.
But thank you so much. This has been really, wow, a very insightful interview. Was not expecting this. Okay, so first question. What brand of hair shampoo do you use? Because you're well known for your long, luscious locks.
I get asked a lot this question. Simple answer, Head and Shoulders.
Oh.
Okay, I'm not endorsed by the product, by the brand, but
not sponsored.
Not sponsored, but the Head and Shoulders is really good. If you ask me, and the thing is, if you go overseas, right, like traveling and all that, right, you can find a brand everywhere.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's good lah.
Favorite restaurant?
Restaurant. Wow, so atas. I don't eat restaurants. No, but what kind of restaurants?
Okay, favorite eatery?
Actually, I don't have. Well, I mean, if you ask me, I'm still a very local at heart. I'm still into the local delights. So if you ask me, comfort food will be found in like a wonton mee. You know, Koki wonton mee. This is at Lavender. I like nasi briyani, the Zam nasi briyani, Arab Street. And yeah, pretty much that.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. And how do you unwind?
How do I unwind? You mean then or now?
Now.
Now, how do I unwind now? I go for runs. So I run, I exercise, I read a book. I'll take a stroll. And I think right now, where I am, I feel very comfortable being alone. Yeah, spending time with myself to reflect on what has been and what is to come.
And what book are you reading now?
Wow, there's so many, But currently, I'm reading this book called Reflections by our former Judge of Appeal, Andrew Pang.
Oh,
yeah.
I have that book too.
Yeah. So
it's a great book. It has illustrations.
Correct. I thought it's very, very interesting, Yeah.
And your favorite song? What comes to mind?
I think there's one song that will always bring a tear to my eye. It's this Chinese song. It's a rock ballad by this Taiwanese group called 动力火车 Power Station. I think the name of the song is called 我吃得起苦.
So 我吃得起苦 means I can take it, right? In English.
Yeah, I can take hardship.
I can take hardship.
So the reason why, maybe just to explain a little bit, why the song is very important to me, because that was a song that kept replaying when I was in UK, in the United Kingdom. Life was tough there. But because if you look at the lyrics of the song, it says that, 漂洋过海, that means you cross the seas, right? To go and take hardship, just to hope for a better future. I think that show, this song is a soundtrack for that local show, right? Which is about immigrants, you see. So I think at that moment, I was feeling a lot of that. And I think inside there was a statement, there was a lyric that says, 天无绝人之路. In English, it means that heaven will never end your path, And that was also the inspiration behind the tattoo on my chest.
Oh, wow.
A word 天,
Wow.
It's because of this song.
Wow.
So it's always a reminder, to my heart,
yes.
that God is always watching.
Wow, amazing. And what's something you're excited for the next 6 months of the year?
Well, that will be the renovation of my new place. So currently it's ongoing, and looking forward to finally have my forever home,
Amazing. So exciting. And last question, what's the first word that comes to your mind when I say the word bar?
Drinks.
What drink?
No lah. Anyway, I quit drinking already. Bar. I mean, if you ask me, bar, Guinness.
Okay. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Josephus, for coming on After the Bar. It is such a pleasure to have you and to hear your story. Me. Yeah, you've been so real, so authentic. And I'm sure it's benefited a lot of people from listening to this.
I hope so.
For sure. So if you've enjoyed this podcast, then be generous and share it with all of your friends, your family. Everyone should hear Josephus' amazing story. And follow me on LinkedIn, follow him on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to us on Spotify and YouTube. Give us a like, and we'll see you next time for more on After the Bar. See you! Thank you so much, Josephus, for sharing your journey on how you overcame all those challenges to pick yourself up again and again. To our listeners, thank you for sticking with us from part 1 till part 2. I hope you found this episode engaging, educational, enriching, and you've taken away some valuable insight. If you've learned something from this episode, please comment down below and hit the like button if you're on YouTube, or leave us a 5-star rating. And don't forget to follow us on Spotify. Please share this episode with your friends, your family, or anyone who needs to listen to this inspiring story. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you on the next episode of After the Bar.